Hi, I'm Jim Walker. Welcome back to part 2 of So You Want to Be an Independent Contractor. As an independent contractor, your day doesn't start with the installation. It probably starts hours earlier picking up flooring and supplies. If you can find a way to afford your own warehouse, that's your best option. It took me a while to find a warehouse, and it was really small. My first warehouse was a 20 by 30, and I didn't even have an overhead door. We had to carry it in on our shoulders through the front door. It took me 4 years before I could relocate and upgrade to a real warehouse. In an ideal world, this is your goal. If possible, this warehouse should contain about 5,000 square feet. It needs to be clear span, meaning that you should have that open space. Your overhead door should be a minimum of 12 foot wide and 12 foot tall, because most delivery trucks will be able to back up to your door. If you're lucky, you even may have a loading dock. You need to make sure that you have a concrete floor, and it must be smooth and clean. That's also going to be your cutting floor. When I finally moved into my warehouse, the floor wasn't perfect. We had to backfill it. We had to smooth it out to accommodate the round, hard wheels on the forklift. In the beginning, we couldn't afford a forklift, so we used manpower and two-wheel carpet carts. I would suggest, when you can afford a forklift, lease it instead of buying it. If you're not in carpeting, you're dealing in pallets, and that takes up a lot less space. But if you're installing carpeting, you're going to be handling 12 and 15 foot goods. Let's talk about racking for a few minutes. Back in the 60s, I could not afford to buy rack. I had to build and weld my own rack. We put them at 3 foot intervals. You'll have very few rolls that are larger than 3 foot in circumference. You've not to stack carpeting more than 3 rolls high, because it creates roll crush. Back when I was starting, my warehouse had an overhead heater, but I couldn't afford to run it. If you cannot afford to heat your warehouse, you must get the material to the job site and let it acclimate to room temperature before installation. The roof can't leak, and it must be secured with an alarm. Insurance is a must for the building and the merchandise you're storing. That's somebody else's material, and you are financially responsible for it. If possible, you should have a small office inside your building to conduct business. This is just a minimum to run a business. We can go into more detail about setting up an installation company. Just ask. Tune in tomorrow for part 3.